I know you use synthetic on your engine, but do you really understand what it's doing? Mechanics won't tell you this about synthetic oil, and most drivers have no clue. Studies show 60% of engines fail early due to poor oil choices, not driving habits. Today, I'm exposing the myths, the lies, and I'll reveal the brands I trust to actually protect your engine. To make it easy to follow, I've divided this video into sections, so we can break down each part of the truth step by step. From what synthetic oil really is, to the additive game, oil change intervals, and even what I personally use in my own cars. Section 1. What synthetic oil really is, and what it isn't. You might think synthetic oil is some magic liquid that makes your engine invincible. The truth is, it's just oil, engineered and refined to perform more consistently under heat and stress. What makes synthetic oil different from conventional is the uniformity of its molecules. Instead of random, uneven hydrocarbon chains like in regular oil, synthetics are designed with precision so they flow better, resist breaking down, and handle extreme temperatures. But not all synthetics are created equal. There are 5 main groups of oil, and understanding them separates marketing hype from real performance. Group 1 and 2 are petroleum-based oils, with Group 2 being more refined and stable. Group 3 is highly refined petroleum, but is legally allowed to be labeled as full synthetic in the US, even though it's still fundamentally mineral oil. That's where most cheap, full synthetics come from. Group 4 oils are true synthetics, made from polyalpha olefin molecules, engineered for superior stability, oxidation resistance, and thermal performance. Group 5 covers specialty oils like esters, which are expensive and usually used in racing or aviation engines. So when you pour what the label calls full synthetic into your car, you might just be getting a fancy refined mineral oil with additives. Remember this, you're paying for a label, not a miracle. Section 2. The big marketing lie. Here's where it gets tricky, and where most mechanics won't be honest with you. The term synthetic has been legally watered down in the oil industry, and that's how marketing gets away with charging double, triple, or more for something that isn't dramatically better. Back in the 90s, there was a big showdown between Castrol and Mobil 1 over labeling. Mobil 1 was a true PAO-based synthetic, a Group 4 oil, and Castrol's oils were highly refined, Group 3 mineral oils. Legally, both could be called full synthetic in the United States. That meant consumers saw the words full synthetic on both bottles, but only one was truly engineered from scratch. The other was basically fancy petroleum with additives. Since then, every oil company learned the game. They know most drivers won't dig past the label. They use words like platinum, advanced protection, ultra, or high mileage to make you think you're buying something elite. But most of the time, the difference is minimal. They're tweaking additive packages, adjusting viscosity slightly, and boosting the marketing hype to justify a higher price. I've tested engines using the $25 synthetic and the $60 premium synthetic side by side. Honestly, in real-world conditions, the performance difference was negligible. The oil industry isn't selling protection. They're selling peace of mind. People want to believe they're doing everything they can to protect their car, and companies exploit that. The labels make you feel smart and responsible. But in reality, most engines don't care about your brand loyalty. They care about proper viscosity, clean oil, and a quality filter. The truth is, a lot of synthetic oil claims are marketing fluff, designed to separate you from your money, not to extend engine life in a meaningful way. And that's why when you hear your mechanic talk about oil, or see the price on the shelf, you need to know exactly what's real and what's smoke and mirrors. Section 3. The truth about oil change intervals. Now let's talk about something that kills more engines than most people realize. Oil change intervals. You've probably seen those ads claiming synthetic oil lasts 10,000, 12,000, even 15,000 miles. The industry loves to sell that idea because it makes drivers feel like they're doing less maintenance, and it keeps them buying premium oil. But in real-world conditions, those numbers are often dangerous. Most people aren't driving perfectly on a dyno. They're stuck in traffic, making short trips, burning fuel in stop-and-go conditions, and exposing their engines to heat, moisture, and dirt. Synthetic oil resists breakdown better than conventional, yes. But no oil can fully protect an engine from contamination, soot, water, or fuel dilution. I've opened engines that followed those long synthetic intervals, and I can tell you what I saw. Sludge caked on the timing chains, varnish on the cam lobes, deposits in the oil passages, Engines that could have gone 300,000 miles were compromised well before 100,000. Here's the reality. For most cars, even on full synthetic, 5,000 to 7,500 miles is a safe interval. If you drive mostly short trips in city traffic, dusty roads, or extreme temperatures, you should change even sooner. The oil itself isn't failing. The contaminants are winning the battle. Don't be fooled by the marketing. Synthetic oil gives you more tolerance, yes, but it doesn't make your engine invincible. It buys you time, not immunity. Your filter is still your first line of defense, and your engine still needs clean oil flowing consistently. Skipping intervals or blindly trusting the numbers on a bottle is how engines start dying early. You need to treat oil like a living part of the engine, not just a liquid to fill a pan and forget about. Section 4. When synthetic oil is a must. I see a lot of confusion here, and a lot of drivers wasting money or, worse, putting their engines at risk. Synthetic oil isn't some miracle potion. It's a tool, and like any tool, you need to use it in the right situation. First, turbocharged engines. These engines run hotter, the oil gets stressed more, and the tolerances are tighter. Conventional oil can't handle the heat for long periods without breaking down. Synthetic oil maintains its viscosity, resists oxidation, and protects the turbo bearings. If you're driving a turbo engine and skipping synthetic, you're inviting premature wear. Direct injection engines are another case. They tend to create more carbon deposits because fuel doesn't wash the intake valves as thoroughly. Synthetic oil often has better detergents that help reduce buildup. It won't solve every issue, but it gives the engine a fighting chance. Extreme climates are also a big factor. If you're in sub-zero temperatures, synthetic oil flows better on cold starts, reducing wear at startup. On the other end, high heat environments, deserts, towing in the summer, or high-performance driving, synthetic resists breaking down, keeping the engine protected when the pressure and heat are at their peak. Towing and heavy hauling put extra stress on your engine. Conventional oil can't always maintain film strength under high load and high temperature. Synthetic oil holds up longer, keeps pressure consistent, and protects critical parts like camshafts, crank bearings, and pistons. The science behind it is simple. Synthetic oils have uniform molecules which slide past each other more efficiently. They resist thinning under heat, resist oxidation, and maintain a protective layer over metal surfaces. That's why engineers often specify synthetic oil in high-performance and modern engines. My take: always follow the manufacturer's manual. If it calls for synthetic, use it. The engineers designed the engine around that oil, not the marketing department. Skipping synthetic in these cases is like trying to run a diesel engine on regular gasoline. Technically possible in theory, but a disaster waiting to happen. Synthetic isn't needed for every car, every driver, every mile. But when your engine fits one of these categories, turbo, direct injection, extreme heat or cold, heavy loads, it's not optional. It's protection. Using the wrong oil in these engines is gambling with thousands of dollars and hundreds of hours of frustration. Section 5. The additive game. What they don't tell you. Now let's talk about something that almost no one explains: the additive game. This is where synthetic oil really earns its stripes, but also where the industry hides the truth. Base oil alone isn't enough to protect your engine. It's the additives that do the heavy lifting. And most people don't realize just how much these chemicals impact performance, protection, and longevity. There are several critical additives you need to know about. First, detergents. These are responsible for cleaning deposits, soot, and varnish off engine surfaces. They keep your oil passages clear and prevent sludge buildup. Without good detergents, even synthetic oil can't stop engines from gumming up, especially in direct injection engines or cars with frequent short trips. Next are dispersants. These keep contaminants like fuel and moisture suspended in the oil so they don't form sludge. If the dispersants aren't strong enough, those particles settle and start eating away at bearings. And cam lobes. Anti-wear additives like zinc dialkyl dithiophosphate, you'll hear it called ZDDP, are critical for protecting metal surfaces, especially in older engines with flat tappet cams. ZDDP forms a microscopic layer on metal surfaces that prevents direct metal-to-metal contact under high pressure. Some modern oils reduce ZDDP content to meet emissions standards, which can hurt older engines if they're not using a high-quality, properly formulated oil. Friction modifiers reduce internal engine friction, improving efficiency and fuel economy. They work well in certain modern engines, but too Too much or conflicting chemistries can reduce the effectiveness of other additives. Viscosity index. Improvers help the oil maintain the right thickness across temperature extremes. They allow oil to be thin enough to flow easily in cold starts, but thick enough to maintain a protective film at high temperatures. Some oils include corrosion inhibitors to protect engine metals from acids, rust, and oxidation, while pour-point depressants help the oil remain fluid in extreme cold. Here's the kicker. Many brands cut corners on additives to hit a price point. They slap on the base oil, add a minimal additive package, and call it premium synthetic. That's why two oils can both say full synthetic and cost vastly different amounts. One has a robust tested additive package, the other is just marketing. The truth is simple. The best oils don't brag. They clean, protect, lubricate, and resist breakdown quietly inside your engine. All the marketing buzzwords won't save an engine if the additive chemistry isn't solid, and that's what most people never hear from their mechanic. Section 6. Mixing oils, what really happens. Let's clear up a big myth. Mixing synthetic and conventional oil will not destroy your engine. I hear this all the time, and it scares people unnecessarily. The truth is, oils are mostly compatible, so topping off with a different type in an emergency is not going to cause a catastrophic failure. But there's a catch. It's not ideal for long-term use. Here's why. Different oils have different additive packages. Detergents, dispersants, anti-wear agents, friction modifiers. They all work in a specific balance. When you mix oils, that balance can be slightly altered. Most of the time, it's not a huge deal, but if you do it repeatedly over time, you can reduce the effectiveness of the additives. Your oil still lubricates, but it may not protect as optimally as a consistent oil with a matched additive package. The other factor is viscosity. If the oils have different grades, say 5W30 and 10W40, you're technically blending two different flow properties. This can slightly affect cold starts or high-temperature film strength, though in most modern engines it's minor. From my experience in the shop, topping off with a different oil in an emergency is fine. But after that, the next oil change should return the engine to a single, consistent oil type. That's how you maintain full protection. If you want a deeper dive into oil grades and which one really works best for your car, check out my video 0W20 versus 5W30. Which oil should you really use? Right here above. It explains the differences in flow, protection, and engine performance so you can make the smartest choice for your ride. Section 7. The filter. They never talk about. You could be using the best synthetic oil on the planet, but if the filter is cheap or poorly made, your engine is still at risk. I've seen it countless times in the shop. Engines with top-shelf oil still end up with sludge, worn bearings, and varnished cam lobes. Not because the oil failed, but because the filter failed to do its job. A good filter does three things. It traps particles, regulates flow, and seals properly. Cheap filters often use low-quality media that can't catch fine contaminants. Some have weak anti-drainback valves that allow oil to drain out of the engine when it's off, leaving dry metal on startup. Others have poor gaskets that leak under pressure, dumping unfiltered oil back into the engine. That's how you end up with a $20,000 rebuild on a $25 oil change. Premium filters use high-quality cellulose or synthetic media, strong valves, and durable seals. They trap microscopic particles, maintain proper flow, and keep oil in the system when the car is off. That tiny $5 to $10 difference in price can literally save thousands in engine repairs over time. I remember a customer brought in a late-model sedan. They'd been using a cheap filter with synthetic oil. I pulled the oil pan and found sludge covering the bottom and deposits in the filter housing. The oil was fine, but the filter had failed. A simple upgrade to a premium filter and regular maintenance would have prevented that mess entirely. Takeaway for your engine is simple. The filter is just as important, if not more important, than the oil itself. Never skimp. Don't let marketing convince you that the bottle alone protects your engine. A $5 better filter can save a $5,000 engine. And that's not theory. That's every day in the shop. Section 8. High mileage and older engines. High mileage and older engines are a whole different ballgame when it comes to oil. I've worked on cars with over 200,000 miles, and one thing is clear. Switching to synthetic oil in these engines can sometimes reveal problems you didn't know existed. It's not the oil that's the enemy. It's the cleaning effect. Synthetic oil is better at keeping surfaces clean, breaking down varnish and sludge that may have built up over years. That's great for a newer engine, but in an older engine, it can expose worn seals, gaskets, and minor leaks that were previously masked by thicker conventional oils. Many drivers panic when their old engine starts to leak after a synthetic change. They think the oil is causing damage, but in reality, it's just highlighting age-related wear. I've seen engines that ran fine for 150,000 miles on conventional oil suddenly show minor seepage when switched to full synthetic. The metal contracts and expands differently under synthetic's cleaner flow, and seals that have hardened over time may start to weep. That doesn't mean you shouldn't use synthetic, but it does mean you need to transition carefully. High-mileage synthetics exist for this exact reason. They contain seal conditioners that help keep older gaskets and O-rings supple, reducing leaks. Another approach I use in the shop is blending oils for the first few changes, mixing synthetic with conventional to slowly flush the system and give the engine time to adjust. It's like a gentle transition rather than a shock. You also have to consider the additive chemistry. Some high-mileage oils add extra detergents and anti-wear agents to combat the wear, common in engines with lots of miles, that can help reduce further varnish buildup and maintain oil pressure, which older engines often struggle with. But you have to pick a reputable oil, not just whatever bottle looks fancy on the shelf, and don't forget filters. Older engines often produce more contaminants, so a high-quality filter is even more critical. Skimping on the filter while using synthetic oil in an older engine is a recipe for accelerated wear. The oil can only do so much if the contaminants aren't being trapped and removed efficiently. Synthetic oil works differently in older engines. It cleans aggressively, flows more freely, and interacts with seals in ways conventional oil never did. That's why careful selection, proper high-mileage formulations, and attentive monitoring are key. Section 9. What I use in my own cars. My daily driver, a 2018 Toyota Camry, gets Mobile 1. Extended Performance 5W30 Full Synthetic. I change it every 6,000 miles. No excuses, I pair it with a Mobile 1 M1102 Premium Oil Filter. It's a combination that gives me total confidence. Consistent flow, strong anti-wear protection, and reliable filtration. I've seen these oils perform flawlessly in countless engines, and I trust them with my own car. For my older cars, like a 2005 Honda Accord with 180,000 miles, I go with Valvoline High Mileage 5W30 Full Synthetic. This oil has seal conditioners that help keep the gaskets supple, and the additive package is robust enough to handle engines that have experienced some wear. Over the years, I always pair it with a Fram Ultra Synthetic High Mileage filter. It traps more contaminants than the basic filters, which is critical for high-mileage engines that produce more soot and debris. For my truck, a 2020 Ford F-150 with a 3.5 EcoBoost, I use Royal Purple 5W30 High-Performance Synthetic. This oil stands up to the heat, pressure, and turbo stress of that engine I always use. The Motorcraft FL500S Premium Oil Filter, because even the best oil can't protect an engine if the filter fails. I'm very methodical about this because I've seen what happens when people choose based on price or marketing alone. The combination of trusted synthetic oils with top-tier filters is what keeps my engines running clean, efficient, and reliable for the long haul. I don't chase fancy labels. I chase proven performance, consistency, and the peace of mind that comes from knowing my engines are protected every mile. Synthetic oil isn't a scam, but ignorance is. Now you know the truth. So take care of your engine the right way. If this helped you, like, share, and subscribe for more real mechanic advice. And don't forget to click the video below and watch for even more tips.